down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What's going on, Savvy Investors? This is your friend, Steve VanCauwenbergh, with a unique voice. I don't know why my voice is different. And maybe it's because I just not long ago, a week ago, got out of surgery. And so this episode is just keeping you up to date. What's cracking in the trenches, still grinding it out, even though I'm not active on the social media or even at conferences or wherever. I'm down deep in the focus. And I think that's the theme. I think for you, maybe for me, should be Focus 2021. Come on. That's the deal. My word for 2021 is level up, and I'll get into that maybe. I don't know. I'm freestyling right now. I got some stuff scribbled up on some paper. So much has gone on in such a short amount of time. 1 week feels like a year, and I know I haven't been on top of the podcast, but I think some of what I'm going to drop today will hopefully encourage you, inspire you, and to move forward, to stay focused 2021. All right. And what I'm going to say, I don't know what contacts or where you're at in your life. I know it's really cool. People holler at me. They find me for the first time and they go through all the podcasts and it's cool. Wherever you're at, there should be some content on here somewhere that will encourage you. My life journey just continues to make lefts and rights. It's been kind of interesting, a lot of self-discovery, and I really think that's a reality for you. One of my homies I chatted with yesterday, and he's like, yo, Savvy, I'm really focusing on my DISC personality profile and just trying to define who you are. Like what makes you move? What makes you tick? And, I think it's commendable that he even had that desire. A lot of people just go through this deal, wishy-washy, not knowing what's going on and just acting like they're trying to make it. And you can't do that. You can't just go through life just trying to make it. And since I'm speaking about that, now I'm walking out of my little closet and moving my way into the living room because I just realized that I'm going to start quoting some of this book, and I don't have the book in my little area. And where is this book? And I'm almost going to find it. And so I don't want to hit pause because I don't want to hit no edit. And I just want to come out strong and get this to you. So hopefully this will find you well. Number one, in the trenches, slice and dice. One of my ultimate goals on my goals board, which I've said this about 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it 1,000 times more. You've got to write your goals and dreams down. I'm going to tell you where I'm at right now. It's kind of crazy because I don't even know what goals and dreams I have right now because they continue to come true. Like, it's crazy. Like the reality, owning a beach house in Florida, $1 million beach house. I thought that would never happen in my entire life. And that happened 4 years ago, exactly this month. I love when your phone pops up and it shows you a photo 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was in Florida trying to do some wholesaling on the side with my homie, and I'm building a deck with some contractors I found on Craigslist and thought that would never be possible. And that was on my goals dream probably over 20 years ago that I just wrote on my board one day, I want to own a beach house. And I had this vision of maybe an Ocean Beach or somewhere in California because that's where I'm from. I never knew it would be in Florida. I never knew it would be in a place where my family and I go every year. And it's been a wild ride. But see, I wrote that down, never believed that it would happen, and it manifested, and it happened. It came, and when I locked this deal up, and then when I sold it, it's just like no big deal, right? But at the time, I was murdered. What I went through trying to get financing. But it was just crazy. The reality is that I wrote it down on some piece of paper, on some poster board 20 years ago and never thought it again. And it came into fruition and it did it. And then now I've already moved on. Like, I don't even have any aspiration to own another beach house in my entire life. not for any particular reason. One is it's just like, I just want to rent stuff. I don't want to maintain anything. I want my whole life right now at 40. I'm 47. I was about to say 43. At 47, I just want passive income. That's it. Like, I don't want no headaches. I really don't want any staff. I'll take certain people. But the reality is, I just want machines that just make income that I don't have to manage, which in AKA is passive. But the point of number one right now is slice and dice. One of my dreams on there was to have a six pack. I don't know about you. Everybody, I think every male, maybe not every male, but even females have a goal to have a six pack. And in reality, I just thought that would be impossible. I have been overweight my whole life. I mean, at one time, y'all, I weighed 316 pounds. And this is just crazy. Someone sent me a video that over 22 years ago, I was 25 years old on stage at a ska punk show that I would back then. I don't know if you know anybody, but I'm a promoter. That's how I started out in this game. I was a promoter in one of my all-time favorite bands, Five Iron Frenzy. And if you ever saw me in reality in human form, I have this elbow tattoo. It's a sun, and the same tattoo is on Reese Roper from Five Iron Frenzy. So that's a little, fun fact for you where that came from. Anyway, someone sent this video to me, and it was just some random person never even met, but he went to that concert 22 years ago, and he was just thanking me for producing this concert and bringing this band to Oklahoma City. And I saw myself on stage, and I was like 280. I remember, 290, probably almost 300. And just seeing 22 years later, and I'm about to hit 200 pounds. Like, and for the last several years, I have worked my tail off, worked out the best diet possible, and I have just had this leftover skin that I could never get rid of. I tried. When I got to 235, I was 235 for a whole year, and I was like, this is off the chain. And then I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get down to 220. I get down to 220, off the chain. And then just for 6 months, I've held 220. And then it was about time. I'm like, I got to slice this mess off. And that's where I'm at right now. Right now, I'm in a bandage. I had drain tubes, all kinds of craziness. And, when I did this surgery, I did not want anyone to know, right? I was like, when I walked in there, and it's a long, drawn-out story, they're like, can we use your photos? And I actually opted and said, no, you can't use my photos. Now, after the fact, it's a week later, and I'm on a microphone. I even told the doctor's off the chain, and I said, you can use my photos, because I just want to inspire you that you can do anything you have an inkling, a desire of your heart, you can do it. It's just crazy that it's going to take me another 6 months, maybe 12 months, but one day I'm going to knock off my last and final goal on my dream board, and that's to have a six pack. I'm telling you, many years of depression, of frustration, that it's never going to happen. Even one of my homies sent me a photo. He was a bodybuilder, and he had this massive six pack. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Good for you. I would love to reach that paramount goal. And, and it's humble for me to share this with you and just to tell you. But the reality is, I'm like, I just want to be real with you. I've had a food struggle my whole life. I still have a food struggle. I have had a weight loss battle my whole life. And then I'm at the end of the road right now. 47, got it sliced. It's diced. It's off. I'm right now like 200 pounds, something. I'm about to get BBE. If you don't know what that is, that's best body ever. My only concern would be, why did I wait so long when I got my braces? I got my braces later in life, around 30s, 28 to 30s, somewhere around there. And it was 4 G's to get my braces. And I'm like, why did I wait so long? Now, of course, my mind was wrong, but why did I wait so long? And so in the trenches right now, during this slice and dice, I've really had to be forced to slow down. And it hasn't been easy for me. And, busyness doesn't mean you're successful. It means you're hiding from something, I think. But the reality is I had to slow down, and I have been reading a tremendous, and there's a book here in a minute that hopefully you have time to go over. I have to realize I had to reprogram myself. At 47, I have reached, financial freedom. I have reached the physicality of what I wanted to do, but I still have a jacked up mind. Like, I still have doubt and fear. I still have insecurity. I'm telling y'all, I've been just diving into Brian Tracy, and I'm like, this course that I'm going through, that I went through, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, it's like Brian Tracy Success Mastery, 16 CDs. I'm telling you, I'm like melted butter. And that's where I think we need to be. We're not feeding our minds. We just got just so much with this pandemic, so much with drama. People are negative. And that's my new thing too. It's like I'm just been cutting this crap off. I'm cutting off all the negativity. I'm cutting off anybody that just isn't even up to the level. So I just want to encourage you to read, reprogram your mind. And even if you're looking at me like, wow, man, the VanCauwenbergh cat, he did it. Yo, I'm still just like you. I still have to reprogram. I still have to read, and I still need Brian Tracy in me. And I'm telling you, when I'm listening to this stuff, it's off the chain, and that led me to another book. But let's just skipping on. Number 2, I just locked up last couple weeks ago a commercial property. Man, this is off the chain. I'm blessed. I've been working on this realtor for a minute. I can't get no traction with this realtor. I don't, nothing in a negative way. We did a big deal and it went bad south. We found some contaminants, and I didn't even know that I even explained this to y'all. The drama that I went through, phase 1, 2, 3, meetings with the city on a regular, chemical vapors and contractors and all this stuff. And I forgot. I don't even know if I even told about that story. And that may be if that's something that you're interested in, you want to know more about how I died on this recent commercial deal to the tune of at least $20,000 in loss. And I don't even have the building. But so that deal didn't go well. And then the realtor called me one day. He's like, yo, okay, he didn't say, yo, he's a lot more professional. And he's like, I think I got one for you. I was like, okay. He says, it's a liquor store. It's a triple net lease. It nets $1,500 a month. They want $160. Now, when I start putting the numbers in, I'm like, Skippy, that's a deal. And so I'm like, let's negotiate. Now, this is kind of gangster, so I'll just give you a little quick tip here. I hit it with 100. I was like, and what happened was the gentleman that has this parcel sold all the Chicken Expresses in Oklahoma. He had 26 Chicken Expresses. He sold every single Chicken Express for $1 million each. Got $26 million. Dude bounces out, moves to Texas, and he's got this one little piece of real estate, 1,000 square foot commercial property on a pad site, which is in the middle of the strip center, in a stripping mall center, it's right next to a Chicken Express. It's kind of funny. Obviously, he owned all that. And it's on a Taco Bell's right there. CVS is there. It's off the chain. One of my dreams to have one of these type of properties. Gobbled it up, offered 100. Couldn't negotiate back and forth. I really wanted to get it for 125. The dude doesn't need the money. He's like, it was hard to negotiate with the guy. Not a hard way, but just he's such a baller that he's like, this is like $100 bill to him. And so eventually we finally settled on 140,000. Bang, bang. I'm like, boo, boo. So I'm all in. I'm OG. So I order the money from the bank. And they give me the thumbs up. And then next thing you know, hey, did you know Mr. VanCauwenbergh, that's in the flood zone? I was like, no, I bought this out of my area. This property is about an hour from my zone from Oklahoma City. So it's just outside of Oklahoma City an hour. And 45 minutes, and I was like, dang, what a rookie move. I did not check the flood certificate. So, yes, in the trenches, Steve VanCauwenbergh, 20-something years as a real estate investor, makes mistakes on a regular. And so then I was like, man. So then I'm going to figure out this flood insurance because the bank requires you to have flood insurance if they're going to loan you money. So then I'm start digging deep. How does flood insurance work? And I've talked a lot about flood insurance, and I got another flood property, and it's so crazy digging into the flood insurance situation. First of all, it's about double. So to insure that commercial property with $1 million liability is about $2,000 a year. To add flood insurance, it brings the total up to $3,500. What in the double the insurance? Now what? Here I am again, and just put a $5,000 earnest money down. My deal before this busted in my face. Now the two deals before that busted in my face. I closed a little deal in between there, but I'm like, man, what in the world? Now I'm gonna walk away from $5,000. So then I was just like, man, I just had to take a minute, and just sometimes I think this is what we need to do, and this is what we're not doing. I think sometimes we just need to sit there and just think about it. Maybe take a day, 2 days, maybe 3 days. And just think about the scenarios. How could I make this work? What went wrong? What did I do wrong? What am I not going to do again? And how am I going to correct this situation? So, I just continue to go through the bank and just see if I can find my own insurance. And so I order the appraisal. Bam! The appraisal comes back at $225. Bang, bang. This could be a no money down deal. And then I was like, okay, now my cash flow is up and down right now. Storm 2000. I'm loaning money out and I don't have any money in. And then I was like, man, I had 100 scenarios going through my mind. All right, I can use the bank to close it, pay more insurance. So I called my insurance agent. How can we be creative? Can I just close this deal? He's like, flood insurance is required to be prepaid for the full year. And I'm like, who sets these standards? It's like, who says that? And, again, he brought me to the tent. This is all regulated by FEMA and the government. And this is how the flood insurance world works, Mr. VanCauwenbergh. And I was like, well, ain't going to work for me, homeboy. I appreciate you. And I'm going to find a way. So I went back and thought about it. I was like, Mr. VanCauwenbergh, talking to myself. And I was like, what's the worst thing that can happen, OG? What's the worst thing that can happen? Worst thing that can happen is that you can lose 5 G's and walk away. Well, plus I had ordered an appraisal, plus I order a phase one, plus I had all that. So I'd be out about another 8,000. Okay. That's really not the road I want to go. Number 2, or what does it take? What happens when flood does happen? Have you had a property flood before? And what does it cost to button up a house, a property? Sure enough, talked to a really good friend of mine. We were just chit-chatting about the deal. And he's like, you just got to put the drywall back about 2 feet, 4 feet off the ground. How much is that going to cost? A total flood repair would cost me maximum $10,000. Okay. So that's the worst case scenario. I'm just going to insure it myself. I'm going to pay cash. Now, of course, my exit strategy would be, how are you going to unload this property? Someone else. But I thought to myself, if everybody in this shopping center, do you really think they got flood insurance? No, because it's ludicrous. Flood insurance is ludicrous. It's just, you're hedging against what? I mean, how many big floods? I understand if you live near a dam, Houston, I've seen it go down. I've seen some really good friends of mine actually Storm Harvey take a $400,000 hickey. I get it. But I was like, I'm going to roll the dice on this mess. And I'm just going to buy this property. I'm going to pay cash. I'm going to raise the money either privately or I'm going to use my own funds, close this deal, and just reap the $18,000 reward. That's the cash flow. It nets $1,500 a month. The tenant pays. If you don't know what triple net lease is, the tenant pays the insurance. They pay the taxes. Now I can sting them with flood insurance. It would just their rent would be way over the top, and they probably wouldn't afford it. So then I would lose a displaced tenant, and then try to get another tenant in there. It was just easier not to do it. So that is the scenario. That was in the trenches. That's number 2. I know that's a long story. I close any day on that mess, and another one to the portfolio, and keep on trucking. Number 3. Here's my number 1 struggle right now is getting a new group. It's tough. And I had a 30-minute conversation with a homie a couple of days ago about this. It's like, look, man, it's time to get out of the current group that you're in, and you got to set up into a new group. You got to start hanging out with people in the new group. people that are smarter than you, people that are stronger than you, people that have more financial power than you. You need to be the weakest dude in the group. And I realize this is not as easy as I claim it to be. Because I don't want to say these words, but I'm like insecure. Like, it's just easy to be comfortable with the people that you know and the people that you like. But that does not get you to the next level. And that's my word, next level. That doesn't get you to your dreams and your goals if you're with the same people that are not going in the same direction, or they're not having big enough audacious goals. And of course, you've heard this from Darren Harding. You've heard this from other motivational speakers. But the reality is, it's so true. And I just really have pointed the finger at myself and looked in the mirror. Why is this taking so long? And I was in, I'm strapped to the crib for another week, and I'm walking around and I'm in my library, and this book popped up. And I didn't even know I read this book. It's amazing how many books I've read. I've just been like, wow, I didn't know I read this one. I don't know how far I got, but I saw some of my markings. I saw some of my handwriting. So I picked up this book from my library, and this is what, it just crushed me. And I've learned this in other forms, but this book is called No BS, Wealth Attraction for Entrepreneurs. Unlock the ultimate no holds barred, kick butt, take no prisoners. And if you don't know Dan Kennedy, and it says this is the guide to really getting rich. Okay. Now I guess I must have got this book 20, 30 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. The word rich was a draw to me. And I read it, but this is the one thing that just crushed me. And this is the one that gave me the solidification of, I got to get a new group. And this is what it is right here. Is this, if you stop to think about it, this is in the preface. If you stop and think about it, it's probably true that most of what you've been taught about money, opportunity, and wealth was taught to you by people without wealth. The group that I'm in, most of what you've read or heard about wealth was said or written by the unwealthy. Most of the people you've associated with, whose opinions about money you've heard often, aren't wealthy. Most of what is your present belief system, let me say that again. Most of what is your present belief system about wealth was built with raw material obtained from unwealthy resources. Now listen, I know, man, you probably know this already, and I knew this. And this is how I overcame being from the hood, struggling with all kinds of demons and problems in my own world, being abused as a child, being poor for so long, having nothing. And then when I started attracting wealth, didn't even know how to respond, didn't even know how to receive. It's hard for me to receive, because I have been following unwealthy people's principles, goals, ideas, suggestions. And it's time for you and for me to get away from those people. I'm telling you right now, I'm only going to be hanging out with the wealthy people. Now, this doesn't make me any one step better than you. If I don't want to hang out with you for some odd reason, it's nothing personal. It's just what I'm dealing with in my own world. And what I want you to do, I want you to have the same philosophy so you can grow and you can reach your goals and dreams that you have. Now, if you've been listening to this far, I'm amazed. But if you haven't written your goals or dreams down, I wouldn't even tune in anymore. It's just like, you got to do the first thing. You got to write out your goals. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? How much you want to make? What does it look like? I'm telling you, I'm living the dream because I wrote this dream out. You should interview my wife. She's the one. I remember when we sat down, I'm like, these are the sacrifices that we're going to make right now so we can live like no one else has lived before. It's sitting down, making those decisions, making a decision to be wealthy and doing it. And so I know that I need to be reinforced in this belief system, and I need these people around you. And I need you to do the same. And so it's just, I've been hyper aware. I'm also reading Unscripted right now. Man, I got the book club coming up in the first week in December 3rd, I think it is. I'm not sure the exact date. You can check it out on my Facebook page. But man, that's been twisting me up too. And that's gonna be some good discussions there. But I noticed that, I posted something on Facebook and some dude just started blasting it. And it was this weight loss transformation. It was the exact same thing that just happened to me. It was Fat Pauly to Six Pack Pauly or something like that, or Lolly or something. And I've been all just jammed up in bed with sutures everywhere, sliced from all the way around. It's called the 360. And I posted it up there, and this dude blasted. And I was like, that's negative. That dude's out. He's out. I can't have negativity. You can't sacrifice when you have negative people in your world. You selling out. You out. You sell out, man. When you see racism and you allow it to happen, you on the team. You on the racism team. You got to make a stand and say, nah, I'm not about that. So when homeboy, look, I just cut that dude off my team. I'm like, boom, I hit delete. Even my wife came to me. She said, did you see what that dude said about that post? I said, I deleted it. I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to delete it. I wanted to lead that dude to the next level, but I can't because he's in the wrong group. And then another homeboy came up over to the crib the other day just to holler at me, and he said, did you see that? I said, I already took it off. I already took him off my team. He's out. I can't handle it. You gotta have a standard. If you want to be wealthy, you want to buy a few cribs, you got to cut these people out. The people that just don't want to participate in reading and knowledge and being better, that's all they could say. That's all they could see is negativity. He said the dude was about himself on the video. No, he wasn't. You wish you were him and you got mad and then you want to blast somebody negatively. Well, you out. Peace out, Girl Scout. You got to make a decision. Who are you going to roll with? If somebody's negative, then when it gets too hot, they out. You got to roll with the people when it's so bad, they just positive. They come out of the rumble. They said, I'm with you, VanCauwenbergh. I'm 100. And, some people are just not going to like me, man. I'm trying, I don't talk about political stuff just because I don't want to offend nobody. The reality is I can't win everybody. I can only win the smart ones. The ones that I really wanted to be and make a difference. I want to make a difference in this world. I want to leave my mark. I don't want my name in lights. I want one homeboy to say, you made an impact in my life. That's it. I'm good. I'm gravy. Find a new group. Number 4, I'm just studying Brian Tracy like a big dog, like nonstop. Number 4 for me is like strive for excellence. That's what you need to be doing, man. Am I striving for excellence or am I just being a half-stepper? I know this in my own children. I see my son sometimes cut corners in wrestling practice. Everybody else is sprawling, getting on their knee and jumping back up. My son is like kind of slap-a-daisy-cool on that. And I'm like, yo, I don't say nothing because that's not the way you do it. He's going to learn. But I'm like, I realize, am I striving for excellence? Is my stuff in order? Am I the very best? Or am I cutting corners? That's my deal right now. I'm striving for right now I'm doing sales in one of my companies and I'm like, I'm going to be the best salesman. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, Brian Tracy just got me just so hyped. Why not? Why not be the best? Why would you settle for anything less? Come on. Bring it. All right. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. What else is on this little piece of paper? Number 5, self-reflection. Listen, man, you got to take some time to just sit down and, one of my other homies lost a life, a family member. I can't imagine. Saw it on Facebook. He told me about it. Real cool about it. OG about it. His wife texted me. Then I just saw him post something on Facebook about it. It was a month ago. And I'm like, man, sometimes you're just going to have to take time to think about it. Like, what? That stuff really affects you. And what are you going to do about it? It really motivates me. I don't want anyone to die, but we're evidently going to die. How are you going to handle it? Is that going to motivate you? Are you going to do it in their name for them? And so my mom passed a couple years ago. I kind of just put it under covers. But this new book that I'm reading right now, this wealth attraction book, it's priceless. It's like you could buy it used for $5. It's just like a life change. I got my mom in there. Got my mom in the book. Every time I turn a page, I see her sacrifice. I see everything she did for me. I miss her. That's what it is. And I wish she could see. But it don't matter. Am I going to be the very best that I can be? Am I going to make a new generation? Am I going to create a legacy? Are my children going to carry their photo in their book because I was there for them, not for what I gave them, which I'm not going to give them anything. But the reality is, what the impact that I make in their life. Are they carrying a picture of me in their book? So I don't know if you know this, that I'm a firm believer in having a coach. And that's why I like that Frank Polly book. Polly, it's on my Facebook page. It's like Fat Polly, Lolly, Fat Lolly to Six Pack Lolly, LOLI. And, my wife, I was like, did you watch? My wife said, yeah, I watched it. And I fell asleep and she's like, yeah, I watched it. And I was like, she's like, Steven, it was off the chain. She's like, the dude had a coach and he had several coaches. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to tell people. I used to be so cheap, can't afford a coach. I'm telling you, there's creative ways to get a coach. You can barter with a coach. You can trade with a coach. There's a dude that came over to my crib yesterday. He's a really good friend of mine, man. Did me a solid, right? I'll do he needs any kind of coaching. It's an automatic. Like, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about trading. I'm indebted to him. You could serve somebody somehow. That's what I learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Work for somebody for free. But I'm paying for a coach right now. This dude, it just seems like every coach I hire, I like him in the beginning and then I don't like him. And this dude, he doesn't like me talk. He doesn't, and I'm a talker, right? That's the pleasure, the benefits of podcasts. You get to talk. Anyway, but he came up with this thing he dropped on me. And I was like, wow, I'm about to write that down. So I'm going to share it with you. He called it the 10-50-90. 10-50-90. 10-5-9 or 10, whatever it is. I don't know what he could call it. But when you got staff, which I have staff in several of my businesses and different companies, and I think I hire people right. I don't make all the right decisions. I definitely make a lot of mistakes. But I know this, he goes like 10% of the time in the beginning, like right out the gate, if you give somebody a task, and you should apply this to a contractor, okay? They need to get this job done in 10 days. Okay, let me just give you a quick example. On the first 10%, so that would be the first day, you check in with them. Do they got it? Do they understand the job? So with your employee, the first 6, whatever, if they're giving them a task on the first 10%, you've got to check in with them. On the first 10%, do they have it? Are they comprehending? Do they understand the whole scope of the work? Is everything on lockup? Do you understand what's going on? And where this is coming from, I have a staff member that we would not catch things until it was too late. Like either we lost too much money or the customer was disgruntled and we could have caught this stuff on the front end. And we're like, we're a young company. Is it our responsibility? Where do we go wrong? Is it lack of communication? Did we not set our expectations? Or, the quick thing, if you're full of pride, it's the other person. It's the employee. But this is how you solve that problem. 10-50-90. 10%, you check in. Do they got it? On the 50% of the job, so the job should be done in 5 more days. On the 5th day, you check in, and I'm just giving you an example of this quick timeline. Are they fast enough? And why or why not? And these meetings should be about 10 or 15 minutes because you don't have time to be babysitting people. Can they handle it? Are you going to fully execute this job, whatever it is, in the amount of time? And then the 90 is like the last 10%, the 9th day. Are we going to finish on time? Is this going to finish strong? Are they going to do it right? And is this the best person that you have hired for this position, for this job? Okay. So these are my little thoughts in the trenches. I do need some feedback, and I'm struggling on where to take the podcast. Now, of course, right now I'm getting real hungry about dropping a lot of real estate knowledge, and I know that's a hot subject. I think it will always stand the test of time. It's forever. I was looking at my library. I was like, man, all these real estate books that I have consumed. I'm like, man, I can just open one of these and just start dropping books, start dropping knowledge from the books and how did I use them. But tell me if there's any subjects you want me to cover, any more in depth, any more details. I'm not sure how long this podcast is. 34 minutes is a long time. Maybe I'll do another one on the Wealth Attraction book, what I learned so far. Maybe in a couple of days I'll finish this book and I'll do a review on it. Anyway, I appreciate you for staying faithful to me, for the folks that have been positive for me, for the folks that stand up for me. You hear me? Some people just don't like me. And I'm sorry that you don't like me. That's not going to make me who I am. What's going to make me who I am is how I'm going to stand firm through the storms. And that's where you're at. My one homeboy said to me, he's like, man, I always feel like I'm getting 2 steps back right when 3 steps back when I take 1 step forward. I said, homie, and I know it feels inevitable, but I was like, man, all my setbacks, I just let them roll off my back. It's just the cost of doing business. And sometimes it's real painful, but there's nothing I can do but just keep going forward. It's persistence that wins this game. And I think that if you set the right goals and work only on those goals and really dive in on those goals, and are they going to bring you to where you want to bring? And I'm writing my goals right now for 2021. And I'm like, I'm trying, my goals are so big. I'm like, how am I going to get these in here? If you start working on those goals or working on tasks towards those goals, the setbacks will only motivate you to work even harder. When the goal is not right, the desire is not there. When the setback comes, it derails you. So think of it like that. So when you get 2 sets back, like when my goal was to own this property, right? This flood zone property. So when every time something happened, I'm ready, I'm juicy, got the money, boom, something else happened, boom, something else happened, boom, something happened, this happened. 2 steps back, 3 steps back, boom, 1 forward. I just realized, what's my end goal? And how am I going to make it work? All right, my name is Steve VanCauwenbergh. You tuned in to the Savvy Radio Show podcast. If you want more information about me and what I'm doing, you can go to savvyinvestors.com. I think you could find me there on Facebook somehow or Twitter. Spread the word. Share it. First of all, if you can write a review, if you read my book, I'd appreciate it. I got giddy yesterday, a week ago. Somebody texted me asking about life insurance that they read about in my book. Oh, let me tell you another. Let me leave it with this one. This is just this off the chain. 2011. I have to tell you about that later. I'm going to tell you that story later. Anyway, a property I bought in 2011, I bought for $140. I remodeled it a couple of times. It just appraised for $900,000. Think about the equity I just created. Think about that. The faithfulness. It wasn't easy. It was 14 units. I was always wrong. Every time I budgeted money, every time I thought I would, when I tried to raise the rents, talk about 2 steps back. But listen to me. There were several times I wanted to give up, sell that property, walk away. And it just seems like anytime you're weak, of course, a strong man's going to be there. But when I was weak, it just seemed like everybody tried to buy that property from me for like a year. I just one dude, I want to say his name because I want to choke him out. He would text me every week. Yo, you want to sell that property? You want to sell that property? And holding on, being faithful, and knowing what you're doing and moving in the right direction, having the right counsel around you, staying focused. Man, $900,000. That was only within 9 years, ladies and gents. And that's the hottest area in Oklahoma City right now. Imagine when they build this property next door that they got like 5 or 10 million in, where it's going to go from there. It's crazy. Now, all that success was not me. It's owed to this other cat. Well, it's owed to the banker that loaned me the money. It's owed to my wife that gave me the thumbs up. It was owed to the friend that told me about it, and it was owed to my mom that said you should do it. But who really did the work for me? And these are the real estate investors that are before you right now. It was Nathan Cal. That dude came into Lincoln Terrace, started remodeling houses, and started flipping them, and he turned $25 a square foot into $100. And as of right now, 2020, I've seen the comps for $176 a square foot, $146 a square foot. That could not be possible if that wasn't from Nathan Cal. So I got mad love to him. He paved the way. I was down there when nobody was down there first. I give it up for that. But at that time, when I bought that property, that's all my mind could conceive. I can afford $140,000 payment. How much would that be? I could do this. I saw the vision. I had a dream, and I never stopped. You need to do the same. Have a vision, write your dream, and never stop. And go buy assets.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.